Well, welcome everyone to the Spoken Gospel Podcast. Thank you so much for taking some time to be with us today. We're wrapping up our little 3-part series on 2 Corinthians.
Curiosities in Corinthians.
The curiosities of the corrupt Corinthians. The crazy Corinthians.
The crazy Corinthians.
Yeah. We so far in the first episode, we looked at the passage about being unequally yoked and realized that that was not about marriage.
But
it's kind of about marriage.
Yep.
We looked at, in the last episode, 2 Corinthians 8 and 9, and we talked about generosity.
Yep.
And we learned that money is seeds, not fruit.
Yeah. Which was great. It was a
It's
big
good
moment
one.
for me.
Yeah.
Coffee
Coffee.
is also seeds.
Coffee is seeds. Seeds is money. Money is pizza. Okay. So, yeah. And today, apparently, we're going to keep talking about 2 Corinthians. And we're going to talk about maybe one of the most famous and I feel like it's turned into like a colloquialism outside of Christian circles.
Yeah.
The
Have a
thorn
in
in your flesh.
Yeah, he was a thorn in my
Oh,
side.
he's a thorn in my side. Yeah, that's a biblical term.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so I think that's interesting. We're also going to look at Paul's visit to the third heavens, which has fascinated Bible readers for a very long time. He talks about messengers of Satan. What are those? That'll be fun. Maybe.
I'm so excited.
So-
Angels of Satan, let's bring it on.
Yeah, so you've done good already.
Oh,
I like it. I like where you're at. Okay. Well, so we're in the kind of wrapping up of 2 Corinthians.
Paul is still on his long defense of his own apostolic ministry against the claims of the super apostles or
That's
the
right.
so-called super apostles.
Yeah.
Um,
And it's here that really comes to a head. Because
Okay.
so far, it's been kind of implicit,
okay.
his challenges against the super apostles, because everything's been like under his breath in a sense, where he's like, hey, I'm suffering and I'm boasting in my suffering. You know who's not? The super
Yeah.
apostles.
Yes.
And everything's like kind of offhanded about them.
Uh,
But here in this last part, they're actually named.
He actually calls them.
He calls them out. Hey, these quote unquote super apostles.
Yes.
And then he goes on his most active boasting competition with them, because the super apostles were
That's kind of their MO. So
that's their MO.
yeah.
Yeah. They love to boast.
They love to boast. They're coming in with their letters of recommendation. They're the guys who have it all together, and that's kind of how they make their play to the Corinthians, right?
Totally. It's how they hold power. It's how they are trying to discredit Paul, is by boasting everything they do well and trashing on everything that it looks like Paul does poorly.
And so Paul is going to try to play their own game for a second.
Yeah. And so it's really funny the way he does it. He kind of starts kind of earlier, but we're going to look at 11:1 here. And he says this: I wish you would bear with me in a little foolishness. Oh, do bear with me. I just think it's so funny.
Oh, do bear with me.
Do bear with me, my friends. I just had to read it in that voice, because I think that communicates the sarcasm. For I feel a divine jealousy for you. So he kind of, he's about to set up the boasting, but then he caveats why he's going to descend into the depths of comparison with these super apostles. And the reason he gives them is, for I feel a divine jealousy for you, since I betrothed you to one husband, to present you as a pure virgin to Christ. So that's his goal.
Okay.
He's like, I'm like a father in this situation who has this daughter, this church in Corinth, and
Walking down the aisle.
she's betrothed to Jesus alone, and it's my job as her dad to keep her pure until her wedding day. And so I'm going to protect that daughter from anything that gets in to try to corrupt that daughter before her wedding day, so I can present her pure and blameless to her husband.
Okay.
He's like, that's my job.
It's my job.
That's why I'm so worked up. Like, you could kind of empathize with him with that metaphor.
That's a good metaphor.
Yeah, and so he's like, but look what's happened. I'm afraid that that as the serpent deceived Eve by his cunning, your thoughts will be led astray from a sincere and pure devotion to Christ.
There's some false teachers coming in, whispering things that are not what God has said.
Yeah, and he's putting a lot on the line with this comparison.
Yeah.
Because you have this image of a woman and her husband, and then you have the image of the serpent coming in. And it's like, okay, we're in the garden.
We're in the Garden of Eden.
We're squarely in the Garden of Eden, and you've got this woman who is supposed to follow God, be one with her husband, multiply, fill the earth and subdue it. And there's really good things that would come about if that would happen.
Yes.
And yet the snake comes in, deceives her, and he's equivocating all of that negativity to these super apostles. Again, like we talked about this, I think last episode or maybe 2 ago. He's just ratcheting up what's on the line with these false teachers.
It's so funny because Paul does this multiple times. He makes reference to this story in many of his letters when he's dealing with false teachers.
He does,
and so it's interesting to me that like in Paul's imagination, like the closest parallel to the fall of humanity is like the fall of churches and the churches that he's planted. It's like the fall of the body of Christ in Corinth or in Ephesus. When they let false teachers in, it's like the fall in Genesis is happening all over again. It seems to be a really serious thing.
It's actually a really good meditation because I think we're meant to meditate on it that way because that is a little Garden of Eden in the world, a church.
That's right.
Right?
Yeah.
It's a little place where the bride of Christ is and is supposed to be fruitful and multiply and take God's rule and reign across a chaotic wilderness and bring life and peace to it. And that's what the church does. It's supposed to do. But as people turn her, like the serpent turned Eve, away from that mission, what happens? Death, uncreation, the wilderness gets spread instead. And so he's like, what's on the line for our churches in their cities following Jesus? The creation or doom of the world. Like he's putting it all on the line.
The mission of God in the world is on the line when we entertain false teachers.
So interesting. So I do want to just put a pin in the fact that he has now equivocated the false teachers with the serpent.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Because that's going to be important as we start to understand his larger argument here and how it all culminates in kind of where we're going with the more controversial passages.
Okay, let's do it.
Okay, so verse 4, for if someone comes and proclaims another Jesus than the one we proclaimed, or if you received a different spirit from the one you received, or if you accept a different gospel from the one you accepted, you put up with it readily enough. Indeed, I consider that I am not in the least inferior to these super apostles. Even if I am unskilled in speaking, I am not so in knowledge. Indeed, in every way we have made this plain to you in all things.
I remember back in chapter 6 when he talks about not being unequally yoked with unbelievers. He says, what accord does Christ have with Belial? And for some reason in my head, Belial is another name for Satan. Or like another name for an evil spiritual power.
Definitely.
So this would be the second time
that
the false teachers in this letter have been compared to supernatural evil.
Yes. It's a sustained point he's making, and he's going to make it a third time in this passage. And so we're going to, so he continues kind of setting up this boasting that he's doing with the super apostles, trying to show that he's the legitimate apostle that's trying to lead them to the garden and to life and to truth, and they're the snake, the Satan, trying to lead them away into death and destruction. And so he's going to continue to do that. Oh, he's going to do it 2 more times, actually. Okay. So verse 12, and what I am doing, I will continue to do in order to undermine the claim of those who would like to claim that in their boasted mission, they work on the same terms as we do. So he's like, why am I doing all this? Why am I about to debase myself with boasting in me just to win your approval so that you follow me instead of them? I'm going to do it because we're not on the same team. Your souls are on the line, and I'm going to keep boasting because you are following the serpent. And he's going to say as much. For such men are false apostles, deceitful workmen, disguising themselves as apostles of Christ. And no wonder, for even Satan disguises himself as an angel of light. So it is no surprise if his servants also disguise themselves as servants of righteousness. Their end will correspond to their deeds.
So Paul, now 3 times, has compared these false teachers to
a satanic figure.
A satanic figure, yeah.
That's right. And what's interesting here, there's a lot happening.
Sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
I just kept thinking, that's how the Garden of Eden story continues, too.
Oh, good.
Because you have Eve, who, listens to the false teachers, and then you have the promise that the seed of the serpent, like the children of the serpent, will be at war with the children of God.
Yes.
And that God will eventually crush the head of the serpent and his children. So is that where you were headed?
Okay, let's unpack that for a second. Okay. Because we're going to set up all the right categories for what's coming.
Okay, great.
Okay. So the seed of the serpent, right?
Yes.
And the seed of the woman. And so the idea of Genesis, in the Torah, is this idea that the children of Eve, the chosen line of God, is traced through and found in Abraham, and continues on to Isaac and Jacob, who becomes Israel, and the 12 children with Joseph and all of them, and they become the nation of Israel that gets enslaved in Egypt and then rescued to become the people of God who go into the promised land.
Yes.
Okay, well, what happened to everybody else? In a sense, these are the seed of the serpent that's starting to spread, and you hear about all the evil cities that they build. They build Egypt that produces Pharaoh, this very snake-like, serpent-like, evil, satanic figure who's oppressing and killing and bringing the wilderness instead of the garden, and all of this. And so they go into the seed of Eve goes into the promised land, and is meant to drive out the serpent-like nations.
That's right.
The other nations that are there, in order to create a new Garden of Eden. That'll be the epicenter of God's creative activity in the world.
That's right.
Okay, so that just pin.
Okay, great.
That's going to be such a helpful pin.
Okay, great.
In just a few verses.
Okay, so good.
Okay, and it's going to clear up one of what has been a very confusing passage that has led to so much speculation. So I'm so glad you're doing that. I think the other interesting thing about this passage here, where he's like, it's no surprise that the false apostles look like Satan because they're following him. And that's been Paul's argument the entire time for himself. He's like, which apostles should you follow? The one who looks like Jesus.
Yeah.
I've been suffering and dying and giving myself over for your behalf. That's what Jesus did.
Yes.
Whereas these messengers of Satan, these like angels of light beings, are masquerading as true apostles.
They're disguising this with all these great things in the same way that Satan disguises himself with light.
That's right.
Like people who boast about their accomplishments and the good things in their lives are more likely to be Satan than they are to be Jesus.
Yeah, and they're being like the ones they follow.
They're being like the ones they follow.
Like they prove whose apostle they are by what they actually look like. And that's been his argument the whole time. And now he unmasks the super apostles to show who they are. So again, like you said, our third, the super apostles are the satanic beings.
Cool.
Here. Okay, verse 16. I repeat, let no one think me foolish, but even if you do, accept me as a fool, so that I too may boast a little. So here he goes again. He's like, all right, I'll do the stupid thing you want me to do, because you Corinthians, you just love boasting, and that's who you choose to follow based on who boasts the most.
What's apparently convincing to you.
So I'll be the idiot who boasts too. So what am I saying with this boastful confidence? I say not as the Lord would, but as a fool. He's like, this is so stupid. Boasting is stupid. Since many boast according to the flesh, well, fine. I too will boast. For you gladly bear with fools, talking about the super apostles. For you gladly bear with fools, talking about the super apostles, being wise yourselves. For you bear it if someone makes slaves of you, or devours you, or takes advantage of you, or puts airs, or strikes you in the face. To my shame, I must say, we were too weak for that.
I was too asleep to punch you in the face.
So he's like, okay, you take it on the chin when someone comes, boasts in everything that they are, and then treats you like crap afterwards. And you're like, yeah, but they're so good. It's totally worth it. Like, what? And Paul says, man, I've come to you. I've poured myself out for you. I've not boasted. I didn't charge you for my time, and you disrespect me. And like, you don't accept me as your leader. You want this strong-handed, boastful leader? He's like, I'm sorry. I'm too weak for that for you. I can't treat you like that. I love you too much. I don't have enough in myself to boast in. I just can't do that to you.
I was also reading it kind of like another sarcastic jab.
Absolutely.
And he's like, "Oh, if only we had more if only more grit, I would have hit you in the face. But I'm so sorry. I'm just too weak
to extort you." Yeah. Oh, the reason I'm not a mafia boss is that I'm just not violent enough. Like, it's just so it's ridiculous. Okay. Finishing verse 21 here. But whatever anyone else dares to boast of, I am speaking as a fool. I also dare to boast of that. Are they Hebrews? So am I. Are they Israelites? So am I. Are they offsprings of Abraham? So am I. And then this one. Are they servants of Christ? I am a better one. I'm talking like a madman. Okay, so let's pause here before he gets into something.
Yes.
But he's like, okay, entertain me in this foolish satirical boast.
Yes.
Look, we're all Jews here. Like, the super apostles.
That's what they keep claiming.
The super apostles, hey, no, we're from Jerusalem. We're Jews. Guys, so am I. Come on. Like, that's not what's on the line here. What's on the line is, who's a servant of Christ?
Mm-hmm.
I will boast in this. I'm the better one. Now, even though he says,
yes,
this makes me sound crazy. I'm mad.
yeah,
I would never say this in normal circumstances, but this is apparently what you want to hear.
yeah,
You love hearing boastings.
yes,
So I'll give you what you want.
yes,
But here's what he boasts in. He's like, with far greater labors, far more imprisonments, countless beatings, often near death. 5 times I've received at the hands of the Jews the 40 lashes less 1. 3 times I was beaten with rods. Once I was stoned. 3 times I was shipwrecked. A night and a day I was adrift at sea, on frequent journeys, in danger of rivers, danger of robbers, dangers of my own people, dangers from Gentile, danger from the city, danger in the wilderness, danger in sea, danger from false brothers, in toil and hardship, through many sleepless night, in hunger and thirst, often without food, in cold exposure, and apart from other things, there is the daily pressure on me of my anxiety for all the churches. Who is weak, and I am not weak? Who is made to fall, and I am not indignant? If I must boast, I will boast of the things that show my weakness. He's like, I'll play the game.
I'll play the game.
I have so much more to boast in than you. All this weakness.
I'm the weakest. I'm the
weakest.
most like Jesus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm a servant of Christ. You
Yeah.
want to prove who's a servant of Christ? I'm suffering for him.
Yeah.
That's the game.
Okay.
And they're not going to play. The super apostles will not play that game.
Mm-mm.
Like it's
Well, and they seem to have a different definition of what it means to follow Jesus.
yes.
Like he's
and
like,
that's what's at issue. Right?
yeah, it's like the way that you follow Jesus is joining him in his sufferings,
Yeah.
which I have done, and I can boast about all the ways that I have joined Jesus in his sufferings. All of the super apostles are doing is boasting in the ways that they have great success in their lives and ministries.
Yeah.
Like that's not the way of Jesus, and that's
Yeah.
why I can boast in these things and be confident that you should listen to me. Or
Yep.
you should be confident that you can listen to me.
That's right.
Yeah.
And so he's doing this it's the last straw kind of thing for Paul here as he's trying to get them to prepare for his visit. It's the lowest place he stoops. Like, I think if he wrote his harsh letter to them last time that called them out on their sin, if he wrote that one with tears, I think he writes this one with like red cheeks.
Yeah.
Like he's embarrassed.
No, I thought when you said red cheeks, you meant angry.
Anger. No,
Like,
I think he's just like, this is stupid.
Yeah.
Like I don't want to boast about these things. Like
Yeah.
you guys are making me sound crazy. Like this is not how
Yeah.
I like to defend my ministry. Because I just want to boast in the weakness of, I just want to boast in
Yeah.
Jesus. And you guys
Yeah.
are making me talk about myself. And if I have to talk about myself, I'll tell you that I snuck out of a city to get away from an angry mob, and I did it in a basket. And that's what he says next.
Yeah.
It's just like just shame and unpopularity.
It's like I don't want to. These are not the things I would choose to talk about.
Yeah.
But you're bringing me to this.
And the reason he doesn't want to talk about it goes back to the beginning of the letter. Like his letter of recommendation to them, the thing that proves the authenticity of his apostleship to them is not what he's done.
yeah.
It has nothing to do with his activity among them.
Yeah.
It has everything to do with their changed lives.
And he says that you are my letter of recommendation.
You yourself, Corinthians, are my letter of recommendation. Look at your lives. They're different. They've been changed. So I don't need any other proof or any other boast. Your lives are different because of Jesus. His power in you has been self-evident.
Yeah.
So why do I need to boast in anything but weakness? Because Jesus is powerful in you already. So that's kind of like why he's doing all this.
Great.
This next one, we go into chapter 12 here.
Yes.
This next one.
This is where we get to the thorn in the flesh stuff, but it's a
Yeah.
continuation of what we've just heard.
That's right. Yep.
He's like boasting and he's comparing himself to the claims of the super apostles and boasting in a way that you wouldn't expect somebody to like write their resume.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
I got shipwrecked a bunch of times.
Yeah.
Are you bad at sailing?
Yeah. Not good at sailing.
Yes, I'm here to apply for your captain's position. I've been shipwrecked 3 times. Next.
Yeah.
Okay, yes. So he goes on boasting. That's what he says in chapter 12, verse 1. I must go on boasting. Though there is nothing to be gained by it, I will go on to visions and revelations of the Lord. So
Okay.
this is what the Corinthians are all about.
Yeah.
Is this secret knowledge and
This goes back to
spiritual
like
wisdom.
the spiritual gifts where they're all about the crazy one, or
Yeah.
the one that seems crazy, people speaking in tongues or
the ones
whatever.
that seem mysterious and
Yeah.
and hyper revolutionary
Yeah.
and stuff. Anyway, and so they want some of that. It's very Greek of them,
Yeah.
and they want that. And so they're like, Paul just never boasts in how many visions he's had,
Yeah, right.
Or it's like when he comes to us, he won't speak in tongues in public.
Yeah,
like-
yeah. He's
right?
like,
Like,
he doesn't seem his spirituality doesn't seem like the type of spirituality we should be following.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so he's like, okay, fine. If you want me to boast in my visions, I will. Now, I think a few things are interesting here. One, what he's about to boast in is huge.
Okay.
Two, he does it in such a way that he talks about himself in the third person.
Why does he do that?
I think it's just to continue the humility thing.
Okay.
He's like, I could boast in this, but like, let me just even distance it from myself even more.
Because it's like, I know a man in Christ who 14 years ago was caught up in the third. It's
Yeah.
like he's like talks about it in the third person, but it's like it's a symbol of his humility.
Yeah, I think so.
He doesn't even want to talk about himself in the first person.
Even about the thing that he could boast the most in.
I guess, yeah, and I guess just to like get the box out of my head, I'm like, why can't he be talking about somebody else? You know, it's like it's written in third person, and everything else when he's talking about himself has been in first person. Why are we like? Do we know that he's can't be talking about somebody else?
Yeah, that's a great question. We'll talk about the vision itself, but just to tick the box.
Yes.
If we go down to verse 7, it says this. After he explains this crazy moment that he had, or this person had.
Yes.
So, to keep me from becoming conceited because of the surpassing greatness of the revelations, a thorn was given me in the flesh.
Okay, so even though he's talking about the third person, it's clearly him because later he says, while I was having these visions, something else happened to me.
Yeah, or to keep me from being proud about these revelations I've received.
Yes.
I got a thorn in the flesh.
So fascinating. So it's like even like, oh man, I'm like thinking like, so God gave him, well, we'll talk about what the thorn in the flesh is, I'm assuming.
Yeah, we
but
will,
like,
for sure.
I wonder if his choice to put it in the third person is because of the way that God has like humbled him through anyway.
Yeah, it's fascinating.
Anyway.
Okay, so we will talk about
checked.
the thorn. The box checked. Okay, good. We will talk about the thorn in the flesh. But yeah, I think he's separating himself from the character in this story in this kind of rhetorical way, to just lean on that humility.
Okay.
To just separate himself from the character, to just emphasize, I'm not boasting about this because I'm proud.
Yes.
I'm doing it because you forced me to it.
Yeah.
Okay. So here we go. Verse 2. I know a man in Christ who 14 years ago was caught up to the third heaven. Whether in the body or out of the body, I do not know. God knows. And I know that this man was caught up into paradise. Whether in the body or out of the body, I do not know. God knows. And he heard many things that cannot be told, which man may not utter.
Okay.
So there we go.
So Paul is talking about an experience that he had where he received some sort of vision or revelation from God, and he got to paradise or the third heaven.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
what tell me about the third paradise in heaven, or the third heaven in paradise?
Yeah, I mean, this is actually like anybody in the first century reading this would be like, yep, I know exactly what you're talking about. This isn't a mystical category.
Okay.
Or some weird tiered system. I mean, you know this. This is just how the ancient cosmos were laid out.
If I'm remembering correctly, it's like the sky that we experienced with the birds. That was heaven number one.
Yep, first heavens.
And then you have the stars.
Space,
second heaven. And then like where God lives.
The invisible heavens above the heavens. Third heaven.
Third heaven.
Yep,
Okay.
God's abode.
Yes.
Yeah, you got our sky, space, God's house.
Okay.
First, second, third.
And
so I went where God is.
Yes.
That's what I mean. That's
what he's saying.
Yeah, I went to God's throne room.
Yes.
Like
Isaiah or
Bing.
Okay.
Exactly it. You are on it, Seth. You are on it. Okay, so here's what he's doing. This is exactly why he's talking about this. So he's comparing the super apostles with himself, and they're trying to decide who's the true apostle of God, who has heard from God, who has met him. Well, the proof of true prophets throughout Israel's history have been these amazing moments in God's throne room, where a prophet goes to God, is taken there, and like in the Isaiah 6 story, was Isaiah in the body or out of the body? Well, I don't know. Right? Like, you have to ask him. You have to ask God. God knows. And it's like, but he's there, but his lips were like burned with a coal?
Yeah.
Well, then did he wake up and his lips were fine? Like, again, it's a very similar experience.
He's having one of these grand moments, like the commissioning ceremony of God's prophets.
Ceremony of God's prophets.
Okay.
That's what's on the line.
Okay.
You nailed it.
That's what he's saying he experienced.
I have had a commissioning ceremony like the prophets of old. That's all that's happening here.
Okay.
And you're just like,
great.
I am a real prophet of God.
That's awesome.
And like, is this just whenever Jesus appeared to him on the road to Emmaus? Probably not. Probably more than that. But it could be.
Yeah. On the road to Damascus.
On the road to Damascus.
Yes.
Sorry, we're big road to Emmaus fans.
Really big road to Emmaus.
Road to Damascus.
If there's any biblical road, it's
the Emmaus. All roads lead to Emmaus. And so it's like it could be that was a commissioning ceremony. It's likely a different event, but it is exactly this Old Testament thing we're used to. People like, and I've got a list of them here. Let me grab this. So people like Moses.
Yeah, on Mount Sinai.
Goes up Mount Sinai.
Yeah.
The place of God. Up
That's right.
in the place where heaven meets earth.
Yeah.
And he's commissioned by God. Elijah does this in 1 Kings 19.
Okay.
Micaiah in 1 Kings 22.
Yeah.
Isaiah in Isaiah 6. Daniel in Daniel 7. We have a lot of examples of these prophets of God meeting God, being commissioned by him and hearing from him.
Okay.
And it validates their ministry.
Great.
So that's all he's doing here.
Okay, maybe refresh my memory on some. Is that controversial?
I don't think so. I don't think it's controversial. I just know there's a lot of other opinions about what happened to Paul here.
Oh, what are some of the other opinions?
I just think they get really mystical.
Okay.
And that he was again transported up to some crazy place and and it's like I think we get stuck on, well, what did he see and what did he hear, and
yes,
and it's like we're missing the whole point.
Yeah.
The whole point is, Paul was a true apostle of Jesus.
Yes, he's being commissioned. And
we just start talking about the wrong things.
I understand.
So when I say that's all this is about, is I'm like, let's stop getting obsessed with the thing that Paul is intentionally obfuscating.
Yes.
In order to dive in on what he's intentionally highlighting.
There's apparently, and I just guess I'm not aware of it, a lot of ink has been spilled. It's precisely what does the third heaven mean? Precisely what does it mean to be in the body?
What did he see? Yeah.
And it's like, well, Paul's doing less than what you... There's a theology of heaven that we could get into, but what Paul's doing here is he's trying to establish his apostolic authority against the super apostles. And he's saying, hey, as people who read the Old Testament, you know how that happens.
Yep.
It happens when somebody visits God in his throne room, whether in the body or out of the body, I can't tell you, but that happens, and it happened to me. That's what he's trying to communicate.
That's right.
Okay.
Yeah. And then he immediately shifts out of that story, like he breaches the one topic that I think the Corinthians would love him to spill more ink on, and then immediately moves on and says, I'm not going to talk about this anymore. I'm not permitted to speak about it, and I won't. Great. Whereas the super apostles apparently would probably boast about their visions, go into great detail about what they saw and what God said to them, and all these revelations they had, and they won't shut up about them. He's like, I had a genuine experience, and I'm not going to tell you about it.
Yeah.
Real power move.
Yeah, it's a power move.
So anyway, so then we get to the thorn in the flesh passage. And so he says, so to keep me from becoming conceited because of the surpassing greatness of the revelations, a thorn was given me in the flesh, a messenger of Satan to harass me, to keep me from becoming conceited. 3 times I pleaded with the Lord about this, that it should leave me. But he said to me, my grace is sufficient for you, my power is made perfect in weakness. Okay.
Which is kind of the point he's been making this whole letter.
The whole letter.
And this whole section is
absolutely.
And so that's a fitting conclusion. It's like my grace is sufficient for you. Powers shown in weakness. Is like, and what have I been saying this whole letter? It's like, I'm an apostle of weakness if I'm anything.
Yep.
Yeah, and this is a word Jesus spoke to me directly. His power is made great in weakness. So that's why I'm the true apostle. It's a fitting conclusion to everything I've heard so far.
That's right.
In 2 Corinthians.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so he says, in order to keep me from getting conceited, which I think is another boast in weakness.
Oh yeah.
He's like, I have the propensity to conceit.
As soon as I saw the third heaven, man, I
was like, I'm a real stinking apostle.
I'm a
Let's
real prophet.
go. Like,
there's only like 5 guys that have done this. Me, Daniel,
Isaiah. It's like
Moses.
Yeah. I mean, I would struggle not to think those thoughts.
Right.
Right. And he's like, what a boast in weakness. He's like, I could have become conceited, but to keep me from becoming conceited because of the things that I've seen. And I think it's something just to insert here. I feel like God did this with all his prophets. Yeah. Like, there's not one person on this list that I gave who had visions like this, who had an easy life everywhere else.
I don't think any of God's prophets were particularly
they had plenty of thorns.
Cushy.
Yeah. And so I think there was this kind of pattern to God yes, revealing himself in amazing ways to some of the leaders that he sent to his people, but also keeping them humble through difficult circumstances.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
So he says, so in order to keep me from being conceited, God gave me a thorn in the flesh, a messenger of Satan. Okay.
Okay. Yes.
So thorn in the flesh.
Yes.
Is this just an imagery? Is this just a picture? Is it just a metaphor?
I mean, if I was just to read this verse, whatever the thorn in the flesh is, it's a messenger of Satan.
Yes.
But so that's what I know. It's
yes.
like it
Yes.
is something sent by Satan.
Absolutely. Okay, here we
Okay.
go. So we've got everything we need
Okay.
to do the easy work now of what's the thorn. Because if you want to talk about, I mean, I don't know if we want to open the can of worms about all the theories out there about what this thorn in the flesh is.
Tell me what some of them are, because I think I've heard that it's some sort of sickness.
Okay. Yep. So a lot. Yeah. So I've heard some kind of sickness, some bodily ailment.
Yes.
Some people get more specific about that and talk about Paul's eyesight.
Okay.
That's why his script is so big.
Okay.
And it's
okay.
like, man, he's a
I've heard that
Torah
one too.
scholar,
Yeah,
so maybe it's his eyesight. Some people have gone so far. This is the one that I'm like, let's not talk about it. But some people have gone so far. I want to paint
Yes.
the wildness with which
Okay.
people have speculated
Okay.
that Paul was a homosexual,
Okay.
and that's his thorn in the flesh.
Okay.
And that's why also to the Corinthians he writes about staying single and stuff like that,
Okay.
because his thorn in the flesh was he was
Homosexuality.
attracted to men, and so
Okay.
he's like, I'll stay single then, and
Okay.
that's my thorn in the flesh. That's my cross to bear.
Okay.
And like people have built arguments around that.
Okay.
I think it's way simpler than all of these speculations.
I mean, based on our conversation so far,
Yes.
when we said he gave me a thorn in the flesh, okay, metaphorical thing.
Yep.
I'm curious where
What
else
is it?
do thorns show up in the Bible?
We'll get there. Yes.
But then a messenger of Satan was like, well, Satan's been talked about multiple times
we
already.
know who the messengers of Satan are in 2 Corinthians.
Yeah,
They've been firmly
it's
identified.
these false apostles.
Yep.
Then that seems self-evident to me.
Self-evident.
based
Now that
off-
we've lined it all up.
Yeah. Then my question would be, why is it singular here, not like plural? Because he's always talking about false apostles,
Sure.
these super apostles,
Yeah.
etc.
Right. So he's quoting, I
Oh.
think, or alluding to at least,
Okay.
Numbers 33:55.
Oh.
Okay, so Numbers 33:55. You got it?
I do.
Okay, read it for us.
It says, but if you do not drive out the inhabitants of the land from before you, then those of them who you let remain shall be as barbs in your eyes and thorns in your side, and they shall trouble you in all the land where you dwell.
They'll harass you.
They'll harass you.
Okay.
So in the Old Testament, thorns in the flesh are idolatrous people giving false teaching to the people of God.
Yes. And we set this category up earlier in the
Yes.
episode. Can you put the pieces together?
Yeah, because we said that the false teachers, they're false teaching, and
Mhm.
you don't put next to the teaching of Jesus the teaching of false teachers.
Mhm.
Eve in the garden was led astray by
Yes.
false teachers. You have Israel itself was meant to go drive out the sons of the serpent.
That's right.
From the
Yes.
Garden of Eden and from the world around them.
And when they went into Canaan, they were
And
meant to
were supposed
drive them out.
Drive them out. And so
Yep.
we have the same thing happening here. We have Canaanites in the church. We have messengers of
Yes.
Satan once again. And
Yes.
the same story needs to repeat itself.
Yes.
Get the snakes out.
Get the snakes out.
Get the snakes out.
That is what he's talking about.
Okay.
Yeah. And again, he's done all this work, like we talked about, to ratchet everything up to be like the church is like this garden
Yeah.
that we need to protect from the voice of Satan and the seed of Satan. And these messengers are like Satan. And in fact, they're like the foreign nations ruled by Satan
Okay.
that wanted to get false teaching and idolatry in. And if you
Mhm.
don't drive them out, what are they going to be? Thorns in flesh.
Yeah.
And he just calls them what they are,
Yeah.
messengers of Satan. But what's interesting here
Okay.
is whose side is the thorn in right now? Not the Corinthians.
Paul's side.
Paul's side,
Yeah.
to keep him humble.
So the people that the Corinthians love to listen to are God's thorn in Paul's side.
Yes.
It's like you're listening to my pain.
Yeah, well, think about it. So this took me a while to think about, to be
yeah.
like, why is this the solution? But then I thought about it for a little bit, and I was like, this would work really well on me.
Okay.
So, okay, Paul is like, I could have been conceited from these revelations that I had.
Yeah.
I could have been like, oh man, God's really speaking to me. I could boast and I could become proud and boastful and start boasting in my strength instead of in my weakness.
Yes. All the ministry success I've had. Exactly. The Corinthians are killing it in all these other areas. Yeah.
Yeah, the Corinthian, and of all places to be like, man, I planted a church in Corinth.
Yeah.
You know, like if you're going to put a church that you planted on your resume, Corinth goes at the top.
Yeah.
This town was jacked up.
I planted inside the Bellagio.
Yeah, sure.
Right next to the slot machines. I started a church.
Yes. But like that's the idea. And so it's like, man, he could have become conceited. But to keep him from that conceit, God puts this like mirror in front of him of these proud, braggadocious, false teachers that constantly, I think they do two things. One, they show Paul what it looks like. And he's like, oh yeah, I don't want to look like that.
I don't want to be like
that.
Like,
that would suck. I would never want to be that kind of a preacher. The other thing they do is they continually harass Paul. Literally, he's been talking about how much they've harassed him, how they degrade his ministry and talk about him and spread lies and rumors about him, undermine his authority. They're literally harassing him so that he's like, man, we've done such great things in the Corinthian church. No, we haven't, because they're still really struggling. Yeah. This is still not good. This is still not working.
Yeah.
And so you kind of have this, he's kind of in between conceit and despair, where the Corinthians, although he's poured so much into them, still really struggle. And yet he holds on to God, and he knows that he'll form Christ in them. So he doesn't despair. But then also he's poured himself so much into them that if they had just succeeded and everything would be fine, Paul would be tempted to be like, I'm a really good minister. Like I'm really good. Like I grew a great church. Yeah. And he's like, but God sent these messengers of Satan, these thorns in the flesh that we need to drive out to keep me humble, to be like, even though I've seen Jesus, I still can't get a church to just fall in line.
Yeah.
Like,
right.
This, like, it's keeping him humble.
Yeah. It's so interesting. And it seems really interesting to me that the instrument for Paul's humility are the teachers the Corinthians are most likely to like be listening to.
Yeah.
And so it's like I'm trying to think through that, because if I was to hear something like that, like, Seth, you're the people that you're listening to right now have been sent by God to persecute me. Like, that puts me in such a weird position.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm trying to figure out like what that would feel like to think that I am siding with God's punishment.
This is really helpful, actually.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. This is so helpful.
Okay. Help me, because I'm like,
okay. Yeah. So they love Paul.
Yes.
Right. And he's like, I've got a thorn in my flesh. I've been asking God incessantly to take it away. And yet the thorn are these messengers of Satan. And I need you, Corinthians, to do what the Israelites should have done. Drive them out.
Take the thorn out of my side.
Please come over here, church, and take the thorn out of my side.
Yeah.
Like, it's just like they could come and care for Paul by doing this work he's been telling them to do, to drive it out. So he's been asking God, just take the super apostles away. Take them away. Like fight for the purity of your church. Like, could you imagine the prayers he prayed? Like, God, make your church pure. Keep them from false teaching. All these great prayers.
Right.
Super apostles still hanging out.
Yeah.
But in the Corinthians, when they drive them away, they get to administer healing to Paul's side. Like, that's really sweet, actually.
That's really sweet.
And really reconciling for them. So I'm like, I think that's what's happening there. What does this argument do to the person in the middle?
Yes.
It says, you're going to have to be the one administering my healing.
It's really powerful.
Which is just, again, part of the polemic.
Yeah.
Drive them out. Get rid of it. Purify the space. Yeah, and like what's fascinating is, Paul has shown us how he is in the lineage of these true prophets of the Old Testament that we mentioned.
Yeah.
And all of them, like we talked about, had thorns in the flesh.
Right, because none of the prophets were particularly well received.
No.
And they were all in conflict with some other group of false prophets whispering to the people of God.
Or foreign nations or anything
whatever.
Like that.
Yeah.
And the solution for all of them was to the people they were prophesying.
Right.
It was, guys, listen to my words, turn, and things will get better.
Yeah.
But they never did. And so again, even from a real prophet perspective, Isaiah, Jeremiah, whatever it is, they're pleading with the people of God to take away the thorn, in a sense, to drive out the false teachers, to listen to the words of the true prophet, and bring healing to the relationship.
Yeah.
And that's what Paul's doing here.
So cool.
He's smarter than us.
Yeah, it's so fascinating how like Paul is like mapping like the whole history of the people of God onto himself and the church. Like the church is repeating the Garden of Eden story. It's repeating the Israelite story.
Yep.
Paul himself is repeating this history of the prophets
Right.
in his relationship with the people of God. Like there's no new story in this current story.
I want to be so steeped in the Old Testament like Paul was, where this is just how I metaphoralize everything.
Everything is the Exodus.
It is. And it's like I know it is. And I want to be in that worldview.
I mean, we kind of do it with Jesus.
Yeah.
Right? Like everything in the Bible is repeating the story, the themes of Jesus and his resurrection.
So yeah, that is the thorn in the flesh.
I mean,
the messengers of Satan, the third heaven.
I was expecting it to be the most controversial, but it feels very.
Yeah, I mean, it's controversial in that it kind of removes all controversy because we're just trying to approach the text on its own terms and say, well, what was Paul's point? Let's just trace the argument.
Yeah.
It kind of unfolds itself. He's not trying to be confusing or mysterious. He's trying to save a church.
Yeah.
And so I think as you just follow his argument, you're like, oh,
that makes sense.
I actually don't have to get all weird about what's the thorn in the flesh or anything.
Yeah.
Because it's just the people he says it is, the messengers of Satan.
Yeah, and it feels obvious to me.
Yeah,
so
that's cool. Okay, gospel reflection time.
I think something that's interesting to me, and maybe you'd help me get to Jesus from this observation. But so he ends this with Jesus' words: "My grace is sufficient for you; power is made perfect in weakness." Yeah. So Paul said, "Okay, then I'm going to boast of my weaknesses, so that the power of Christ may rest upon me." So it's in my interest to boast about how beset I am by the false teachers.
Yeah, right. Yes, yeah.
So then, and because in doing so, I experience the power of God to rescue me from that in some way.
Oh, right, because if he's rescued,
it will prove God's power.
Only be God's power doing it.
So for the sake of Christ, then, verse 10, I'm content with my weaknesses, my insults, my hardships, my persecutions, and my calamities.
The
thorns. For when I'm weak, then I am strong. And so what's seems interesting is that he is begging the Corinthians to take out the thorn.
Yeah.
While also being content
to boast in it.
Yeah, or if it doesn't get removed.
Yeah.
And he knows that whenever it does get removed, or in the weakness, Jesus will be made great. And if it's taken out, it will be because Jesus has transformed the hearts of the Corinthians to take it out too. I'm like,
in either way, Jesus wins.
That's
why he can boast in weakness.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah, because either I get to sit here in that weakness, continuing to boast in the power of Jesus, or if I prevail, it will only be because of the power of Jesus.
Yeah.
So either way, the reason weakness brings power is because no matter what happens, if we sit in our weakness, Jesus wins.
Yeah.
Because if anything good happens, it's because of him. And we've made room in our lives and in our ministry or in our witness to be like, if anything happened, it couldn't have been me. And you know how many times I was shipwrecked?
Yes.
Like if I made it to Patmos, it was only because of Jesus. Because I get on every ship that sinks. Like, I'm the worst sailor in the universe. Like I pick the worst ships. Anyway.
It feels like an encouragement then to like embrace difficulty, knowing that God will make power available to us in our own weakness.
Yeah.
And then it also like contentment with suffering, or contentment with like being
maligned
or something, but also like this gospel hope that God can overturn it. And because I can't do anything to change it, God can. Like I think that's
totally. Yeah. That makes a ton of sense. I was also thinking about trying to find in the economy, the story of the gospel, of you've got Jesus and actually Satan, and us.
Yes.
If because in this you've kind of got Paul, Corinth, and the super apostles.
Yes.
Well, he says they're all a picture of Jesus, Satan, and the world. And so I'm like, okay, if I had those categories using this story, what would the story of the gospel look like?
Yes.
I'm like, okay, so Jesus was given a thorn in his flesh.
Yes.
a messenger of Satan.
A messenger of Satan.
He was crucified,
Mm-hmm.
like pierced in his side.
Yeah.
He had a crown of thorns, like the thorns of the nations, right? Because the nations, Rome, put a thorny crown on his head in order to say, like, oh yeah, you didn't end up ruling us, did you?
Yeah.
The thorns of the nations actually ended up ruling the king of the Jews.
Yes.
So it flipped the story.
Yeah.
That's fascinating.
Yes. And then
never quite worded it like that before. I'm like blowing my own mind.
Yeah.
For a second.
And then he dies,
yes.
and in his weakness, he triumphs over them all.
Yes. Yeah. He could be content to die because in the end, God was the only one who'd be able to rescue him in that weakness. He put himself in the weakest place. Like to your point earlier, he was content to be in the weakest place because only in them was he fully and wholly in God's hands to make power out of it. And he did.
That's right. Yeah.
And so we can boast in weakness because we know about resurrection.
Yeah.
And so then I just think about, okay, what in our, we don't really have a role in that story as much other than like maybe we were the ones that put the thorn crown on him.
Yeah.
But it is interesting to think we do get to heal the body of Christ.
Yes.
Like taking the thorns out
Yeah.
as we drive out false teaching.
Yep.
As we protect the gospel.
And even though it's like you said we don't really see ourselves in that story except putting the thorns in the side.
Sure,
but Paul shows us that we become Christ. We join him in his sufferings. Paul is doing that. It's like, and I think every Christian probably can read themselves in the story in that way too. It's like we very much know what it's like to be beset by suffering and like slander and whatever else. And the temptation is always like, maybe God doesn't love me. Maybe maybe this whole Christian thing isn't working out for me. And Paul's like, no, you're in the perfect place to experience God's power.
Yeah.
That might be a messenger of Satan to humble you into a recognition that God will be glorified no matter what happens. You know what I mean? Like that's the call for us.
Yeah, we think that when we're in these weak, vulnerable, suffering, difficult, shameful situations, we're like, well, I guess I'm not going to experience God's power today.
Yeah.
Like it's like victory mentality or something inside of Christianity. But it's like, no, it's when you're suffering, find contentment in it. Because only in there can you actually experience like, oh, that had to be God.
Yeah. Only then do you get resurrection. You only get resurrection if you're dead.
Right.
Like you only get the most miraculous things when you're deep in suffering.
Yeah. So it's that idea of like laying things down and willingly going to those places so that God can be the sole operator of power.
And then maybe even behind that, Paul says something kind of like wild. He said like, God gave it to me. God gave me the weakness. Yeah. It's like, I think I've talked to a lot of people in the last couple of weeks where it's like when something happens, it's just the idea of God giving them that set of circumstances is just not on the top of their radar. But for Paul, it's like that's what gives him hope. Yeah. It's like, if God gave me these weaknesses, then God most certainly can take me out of them.
Absolutely. You know what that reminds me of Joseph.
Which one?
The one from the Bible. No, I'm just kidding. the one in Genesis.
The one in Genesis. They're both from the Bible.
Where he says, you know, what you intended for evil, God intended for good.
Yes.
God had intent behind you selling me into slavery, me getting thrown into prison, all of this stuff. And why was he able to persevere that way and be content in that weak, humble state? Yeah. Only for God to be the one who raised him out of by his own volition and power to a different place. Because he had a different framework.
Yeah, that's
He's
right.
Like, God gave me this persecution.
Yeah.
And often we can be like, isn't that going to create a whole bunch of justice of God problems? And won't this make us bitter towards God? It's like, no. For Paul, for Joseph, and for others, when we understand that God is the one giving the thorn, God is the one doing the wounding, it can only ever be for good.
Yeah.
And so actually seeing suffering as God-given,
while
we might have to navigate some theology issues there, I'm just saying, like, simply here, God uses them for good. And so we can find contentment in them because God will make his strength evident.
Yeah.
Jesus sure did.
Yeah. In his weakness, he became strong. And Paul says the same thing. In our weakness, Christ will make us strong as well.
Okay, let me overextend just a second here because I'm like, this is really fascinating. Both to kind of address the theology issue, but also just this is a fascinating worldview we found ourselves in. And so you have, God works through or in or beside, however you want to word it, the evil of the world in the crucifixion of Jesus.
Yes.
Like the whole evil, corrupt world, vented their wrath on the Son of God. Like they did everything they could to stamp out the author of life. Satan did, the Jews did, the nations did, everybody was like, we're going to kill this person. And yet in overextending themselves in that way, they were beaten. They gave their most strength, their most boast, their biggest forms of punishment and everything they could, and they couldn't keep him down.
Yeah.
In his weakness, he was seen as strong.
That's right.
It's interesting here that you have the boastful super apostles overextending themselves against the Corinthian church in the same way.
Yeah.
We're like, oh no, we're the best. We can oppress you and charge you and do whatever. We have revelations. And in a sense, they're headed for the same destination as Satan in Paul's glorification among them.
Yeah, that's right. Like they're so concerned with their own power. They forget that weakness is like Paul's like, remember how weakness leads to true power.
He's like, I'm going to beat you in the grave the same way Jesus beat Satan. It's just like a cool meditation. Anyway,
I like that.
All right. I think that'll do it for this.
Yes.
That was fun.
That was super fun.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, and thank you everyone for listening and being on this journey with us. We're so glad you joined us, and we will see you next time.
Thank you for listening to the Spoken Gospel Podcast. Spoken Gospel creates short films, devotionals, and podcasts like this one. Everything we make is free because of generous supporters like you. To see our resources, visit spokengospel.com or subscribe to our YouTube channel. Thanks for listening. See you next time.